Growing up, examination malpractice is what one does hiding. But the reverse seems to be the case today. In fact, it has become a well-coordinated form of malpractice where students in schools, especially in exam classes, being asked to pay some money that will be given to their invigilator. Some of the stories we hear. And woe betide you if you're a student in that class and you say you are not paying because it's against your faith or something. So much more that it has become a trend in the bias in that even some parents, have seen it as a norm to get involved in examination malpractice. And this is the focus of our discussion on this segment. We have in the studio Dr. Frank Umeh. Dr. Frank Umeh is a lecturer at Nnamdi Azikiwe University here in Oka. Doc, we're glad to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Frank, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Because you've been away for some time. You're welcome. Now let's start with the malpractice.
Okay.
How did it come? Through sorting, through come on, let us get at the main focus of it. The malpractice.
We have so many forms of malpractice today. As the system, as the society is growing, people are creating more and more forms of malpractice. That is part of their own development, per se. But really, malpractice is not a new thing. It has been there, but people are developing more and more aspects of it that is really, really harmful to the society. Now, we have different forms of malpractice today. We have, as you said, sorting. We have
look at
it. We have different forms of it. We have like people who write on their palms, as you can see there. People write on their thighs, on their laps. Even in some places that people will not dare to venture. Some students will even go as far as that. But the most important thing is that malpractice is bad. But there are causes.
Oh, okay, before we really get into courses, just like I mentioned earlier, that before now, this is something you do and you hide,
Yes.
And when an invigilator catches you, you may keep standing until the end of that exam, but these days, I don't know, how would you really describe the extent of malpractice, the level of examination malpractice in our society today?
All right. We have, the level of malpractice has really gone so high. Now, we have collaboration with students. That is the one you do, like you collaborate with your neighbor. Sometimes you write and you shoot your paper. That is one aspect of it. You can also see people who copy the microchips. They call it microchips. Those small. And some will even go as far as copying it 2 or 3 times. If you catch him in the first one, you think it has ended. And they will say, okay, no problem. Sorry, sir, I won't do it again. And you will think you have really handicapped the student. But second time, you will still see the same material. Instead of taking that time used for copying to read, they will copy it 4 or 5 times. If you catch him 5 times, he will still writing, bringing out more and more. And then you see people who giraffe. Giraffing. That is for those who have long sight. That is a gift of long sight. And they see also people who now do impersonation. That one is also a higher level of it. I'm not there for the exam, but my friend will write for me. And even some will even cross carpet of even writing for the opposite sex. My name is Chisomu Umeh, and I can claim to be Chisom as a male. And be writing the exam, because these days we cross-change names. Emeka is no longer for boys. A female can also answer Emeka. So that kind of thing will even make things easier and possible. We have also this aiding and abetting from from the parents.
Have you seen this type before?
Oh my goodness God. There's a society is really growing in crime. Wonderful. But that is part of it. People who sometimes enter the exam before the time. They enter the exam before the time and they will be busy writing on the table. And we see, sir, I have not, my palms are clean, my tie, I'm clean. But the tables are already furnished with the materials.
Then what constitutes that? Is it not sorting? How do what is the issue of sorting?
Sorting is really coming to another level. Sorting is whereby, when you have really blocked all these avenues, when you have really handicapped the students from all these avenues and see that, oh boy, I have no hope. I must fail this paper because the expo has been collected. Everything has been collected. Therefore, the only means to survive, the last resort, is to now bow down, fall down before the lecturer or whoever is in charge and say, please take this money. I know I will fail your course.
Now we are talking of curbing it. We are talking of curbing it. Where should we start? Is it from
I think before curbing,
yes.
Before curbing, let's look at the collaboration that you talked about earlier.
Yes.
I have an experience, when I took my son to go for an exam in Enugu State.
Good.
There was this young man that came with like 50 students. They came together for the same exam.
Yes.
And, some things played out, of course, in that. And one begins to wonder, are parents equally getting involved in this? Because some students will go home to tell the parents that we've been asked to pay so amount of money to give to invigilators. What's your take on this? What's the level we call this?
That is really the height of decadence, if I'm to say. But now, it is very, very bad to see parents getting involved in this kind of obnoxious act. Because, as you said before, that earlier before now, it is unthinkable to hear this kind of thing. It is a private thing. Now it's an open thing. Now, parents now get involved. Why? Not to talk of invigilators or supervisors, because they have to contribute money, and then they allow students to write. But the point of parents getting involved is really so bad. A
parent to go and give a lecturer some money,
even when the invigilator is not interested in the money, say, please, I know you don't like it, but for my sake, and for my child, please help me. I don't want this child to stay at home, to stay at home. Him failing the exam will come and stay at home with me. I don't want him to stay at home. Please, anyhow, let him go or her go out and join others and pass. And you see them going to instead of paying 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. And really, with the level of poverty in the country, someone can easily be swayed.
And we still have Dr. Frank Umeh, a lecturer from Anambra University here in Oka, looking at curbing examination malpractice in our society. Now, Doctor,
I think we should look into how to curb it, to know the excesses, how many people
let's bring in this. You are in the university lecturer, and you had the issue of an OAU professor that was sacked recently. Yes. Is this part of what is going on in our various universities? How does it feel for a student or a lecturer, a professor at that, to be involved in this kind of a thing?
That is really a problem, because I must say that it is lack of discipline. No matter, whose us is God, whether as a professor or whatever, it's about discipline. Someone can decide. I just want to handle this issue of the OAU professor. Someone can decide that no matter what, I will never get involved in this. Yes. It is a decision. It is being disciplined. And no matter how the pressure is, you will say, I will never be involved in this. I use myself as an example. Yes, I am a young lecturer, and I know I have a long way to go. And when I begin to spoil my show by getting involved in this kind of thing, then the future is bleak for me. Because I tell you, these students will go and sort you, and we see go at the back and give you a very wonderful stab at the back. I say, for this person, Ninke Isera. You have problem. Also get exam, also get an exam. You got pass. And you have watered your efforts down. So you have lost your personality, even as a professor.
Now, let us talk of how to curb it.
Okay.
Is it by sacking the lecturer that is involved in the sorting, or suspending the student that is involved, or which way can we go in order to curb it? Because the thing is a cankerworm that is eating right deep.
Of course.
Parents are involved.
Yes.
The children are, even in the secondary, even in primary school, the thing has even degenerated into that. So, as a lecturer, what is the way out? The stakeholders, how can we get them involved to really curb it?
It's about general orientation. Number one, at least orientation for everybody. But the students, both the lecturers, invigilators, supervisors, the parents, everybody has to be involved in this orientation of saying that this is evil. Some people are taking it to be good. That is the problem. When some people are now taking it to be something positive, if you can't beat them,
something you can't do without.
You can't do without. No, don't worry. Even if you are going to pass, make sure you sort so that you guarantee. It's a problem. So, but the problem is this: there should be, for curbing, there should be a real orientation for everybody. Now, starting with the students, there should be a proper orientation that this is not the best way. This is not the way at all. It's not the way at all. The problem should be students should be reoriented in the part of
doing the part of curbing the examination malpractice, where they have to come out on the open and stay to write their exams.
And they are scattered.
This is really uncomfortable.
What is uncomfortable? You
write
it down on the right, the one on the right or the left?
The one on the right.
What makes it uncomfortable? Because they are sitting at separate seats. They cannot giraffe.
They cannot giraffe, but still, this is under the sun. For some who are having sight problem, this will really, really aggravate the situation. Sure, there should be a kind of enclosure, but proper management, proper supervision. That's the only thing. If it means even sharing the group, if there are 50, you split it to 25, and do it after this session, the next session, to create more space. That will be better. Instead of jam-packing them like sardine, and then as they are trying to suffocate, they will also be peeping, and they will make it. You even make things easier. But when you separate them and do 25 for 50 candidates, then
okay. Let us now look.
As part of curbing it, the orientation that this is wrong, and just like the Constitution amended 1984 Constitution and the 1999 amended has already written it in bold letters: 25 years imprisonment for the person caught in exam malpractice, but amended in 1999 to 50 or 100,000 naira fine plus 3 years or 4 years imprisonment.
Okay, let us look at the consequences. Now, somebody who engaged himself in this malpractice will come out with a good result,
First
but
class.
not really that person who in that result.
Sure.
Does it have a consequence in the society?
A lot of consequences. A lot.
So let us talk about it.
Because
that will help somebody to get.
It has really reduced the credibility for Nigerian certificates, because the case is for certificates. I want to be a graduate. I have a proof of it. This is a proof of nonsense, a proof of the false person.
When you're asked to practicalize it.
Practicalize it. So this is certificate to show that I crossed the corridors of the university, but it did not pass through me. It did not pass through me. So now you'll be judged with the first class, and you'll be given maybe a very wonderful office in the NMPC to come and show us the first class intellect you have to make the NMPC industry blossom. And at the end of the day, what happens?
Nothing happens.
You even help in killing the system, because you have nothing.
You talk about the student, a first class, a year one student who cannot write.
Who cannot
so
write
how,
his name.
how did the person join this?
That is the effect of the special center. Special center is causing the problem, and it will keep spilling over and over.
You know, while all this is actually going on, I cry for my nation, if you ask me.
Sure.
And one may begin to ask, how did we get to this level? You know, how did we actually degenerate to this level where a parent, could be a collaborator in examination malpractice? You know, I don't know. What's your take on that?
It is simply wrong.
Horrible.
It is simply horrible. It's unthinkable. It's unchristian.
And you've talked about ways to curb it. I don't know, as
Yes.
somebody in the system, are
Yes.
there things presently going on to see that it's being checkmated in your own school?
Sure. At least one thing that will lead to that, we're talking about how to curb it, is also the idea of not giving the supervisors proper remuneration. If they will come there and after the supervision and everything, no more money paid to them, so they will kind of try to make ends meet at all costs. And in trying to make ends meet at all costs, they will also begin to cut corners. That is wrong. Another point there is getting good teachers. I mean, it's unfortunate that some teachers found themselves in the classroom, but that is not their proper place. I'm sorry. It is not their proper place. They keep nagging their teeth and everything in front of the students and trying to blame everybody for what is not going fine, but that is not what they are there for. And so, instead of bending down to know that this student has a problem, this should be a way to solve the problem, they will leave the classroom work and begin to talk about business, talk about some other thing. That is not part of the system. It is a problem. So, there should be proper orientation on the part of the teachers. Proper teachers should be put in their proper place. And not just because of employment. I want to employ my cousin, my nephew, for lack of job. And then there is a vacancy there. I put my cousin. But that is not his calling. It is not his vocation.
And parents?
And parents too. They will work. I want my son to be employed. Okay, there is a vacancy there in the university or in the secondary school. And then you put your son there or put your daughter there. This person has no interest in education.
And finally, do you think this is achievable, that it can actually be curbed?
Sure.
In the way you're saying.
It can surely be curbed just by doing a kind of quarterly assessment of the teachers. Sometimes, personally in the civil service, it is being done. Quarterly, you write exam. I say promotion exam. It's happening in the civil service. It's happening. So, if that kind of thing is also applied in the education system, I think it will go a long way. Sometimes you rating the teachers. Sometimes you set examination for the teachers to know really whether they are really suitable for that position.
All right, well, I think we've come a long way. This is where we are ending this part of our discussion. Thank you so much, Dr. Frank Umeh, for coming on the show.
No, it is George Franklin.
Okay, George Franklin, thank you
George Franklin, thank you for calling.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, that's just about it on this segment. Thanking you so much for your time, though we didn't get your calls. We so much appreciate you. Well, let's do it again tomorrow. My name is Nonye Ngokoye.
Well, good morning, Anambra. It's not yet over. Stand by as to bring you the news at 9, and then we'll have sports segment coming on the other side. Stay with us.